It seems that even as far back as when The Walking Dead first announced that Season 8 would be centered on the All Out War saga, there's been a lot of speculation and rumour about a possible time skip taking place after the conclusion to this particular story. Comic book fans will know that after the war ends in the graphic novel, Alexandria and the surrounding communities experienced a couple of years of peace, with readers rejoining Rick 2 years after they last saw him, and it appears most fans are expecting a similar event to happen in the TV show as well. For the record, I do believe that The Walking Dead will jump forward in time a bit from Season 8 to 9. I mean, it can't exactly resume things the day after the war ends because there wouldn't really be a lot of interest going on. With that in mind though, I do think it will only skip over a couple of months rather than years, and let me explain my reasoning behind this. So firstly, I'm sure that even if you're purely only a fan of The Walking Dead and don't care much for its spin-off Fear, you will still be aware that Fear itself has jumped forward a couple of years in order to be able to be up to date with The Walking Dead. And this was done to accommodate Morgan into the show this season. 3 episodes in and the jury is still very much out regarding whether moving the show to be in line with The Walking Dead was the correct thing to do, as it's patently obvious from the season 3 cliffhanger that the writers at the time had a very different direction for the show in mind this season to what we currently have. And with the show only just catching up with The Walking Dead, I don't think it would make a lot of sense for The Walking Dead to jump forward another couple of years due to the risk of leaving Fear behind once again. It's clear that the Morgan crossover is a huge event for AMC, and they were only able to make it work due to getting Fear up to date with the main show. So in theory, if The Walking Dead were to move even further into the future again, then this would put any other potential crossovers on ice, which I don't think is something the showrunners would really want to do. If The Walking Dead is to jump forward a couple of years come next season, then I could see Fear having to move further ahead again to be on par with the main show. As of now, because of the time jump coming into this season of Fear, the show is already having to split its narrative focus into a mixture of scenes set in the present, as well as scenes set in the past. And I don't think any of the writers would want to have to juggle another season of muddled storytelling again next year. Instead, I feel that the events taking place during this current season of Fear will last only a couple of months, with Morgan deciding to leave at the end of the season to go back to the main show. On his return, he will enter Alexandria to see that a lot has changed since his leaving, with the community growing in size and number and society beginning to rebuild itself. Also, Rick's appearance will have changed just as seen in this photo. This will allow the two shows to stay within each other's relative timelines, and we could even see Season 9 of The Walking Dead and Season 5 of Fear taking place concurrently. Now I want to talk about this photo of Rick and Michonne for a moment as I just mentioned it, with this image seeming to be the main reason why so many people are convinced that the time jump will be happening on par with the comics. When the Walking Dead comic resumes after the All Out War saga, Rick is sporting this new haircut 2 years later, so yeah, I can see why people have made this connection. However, the way I see it is that just because Rick has got a new haircut doesn't mean years have necessarily passed. The main reason Rick shaves his hair in the comics, apart from it being a visual clue that he's older than when we last saw him, is that after defeating Negan, word has travelled around quickly, making him into something of a minor celebrity. Due to not wanting to be recognised all the time, Rick decides to shave his hair off. Yes, I know shaving one's hair off so people don't know who you are is the equivalent of Clark Kent putting on a pair of glasses, but the point is that a haircut doesn't necessarily mean a lot of time has gone by. Sure, a few other characters do also look a bit different. Carol has also had a bit of a trim up top as well, and Maggie's hair is longer, but then the likes of Ezekiel and Michonne don't really look any different. So again, I don't think using cast members' hairstyles is a good indication of how long it's been since Season 8. Another reason why I'm currently unwilling to commit to the idea of a 2-year jump is that The Walking Dead has played with our expectations in the past, especially during the last season. I remember watching the Season 8 trailer and seeing the Old Man Rick scene at the end, with me being convinced because of this that this season would end in a similar manner to the comics, i.e. Rick would have his leg broken by Negan and then the time skip would take place after with Rick looking a lot like his comic book counterpart. However, this never happened. Instead, this vision was all just a figment of Carl's imagination, thrown in to both misdirect viewers and also as a bit of fan service. What we are seeing from these leaked pictures currently could be a similar kind of thing, with the creative team simply altering Rick's appearance just as a nod to fans of the comics. It doesn't have to mean they are following the comics to a T. Like the Old Man Rick scene, his new hairdo could be nothing more than just a little Easter egg. Lastly, even though I found the weird scene during the Season 8 finale in which Daryl, Maggie and Jesus had a sinister chat about making Rick know to be pretty awful, it doesn't really make any sense including a scene only to then speed through a couple of years immediately after. Negan is currently being held prisoner and we all know that Maggie is pissed about it, so it seems a bit pointless to include such a moment in which they tease the viewer the prospect of her doing something about it, which in this instance seems to be her alluding to killing Negan, It makes this entire segment pointless if 2 years go by and she, Daryl nor Jesus don't act upon it. Of course, it may be that the new showrunner Angela Kang chooses to ignore this scene due to the fact that it didn't really go down well with the fans, but she was one of the writers who worked on the episode Wrath from which the scene was from, so it could be that she still has plans to follow this up. And if she does, I hope she doesn't make Maggie wait 2 years to do anything about it, because that's just a bit silly. In all honesty, I could be completely wrong about all of this, and it may well be that The Walking Dead does have a 2-year time skip just as it does in the comics. But I find it a bit bizarre that news outlets are so sure and certain that this will take place based on one photo of Rick with a haircut. When you take into consideration the timeline of Fear and The Walking Dead's recent habit for misdirection amongst other factors, then I don't think that such a time skip is guaranteed as some writers on the internet seem to think it is. So there you have it, there's just some of my views on the upcoming time skip that will take place in Season 9 of The Walking Dead. As always, please let me know your thoughts below. Do you agree with me or do you disagree? And as always, thank you very much for watching, and until next time, goodbye.